Are we doing the bluey bounce from person to person?
I don't understand what that is. I've never actually seen Bluey.
I'm tired.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of Snarkasm, the Western District's podcast. We'll just do some introductions first. So, my name is Mary Elliott. I am your Western District president.
I'm Reese Valdez. I am the Western District Vice President.
I'm Jackson Snyder. I'm the Western District Secretary Treasurer.
I'm Zuke Baker. I'm the Western District Member at Large.
And we're super excited to put on this podcast for you. So, we're just going to talk about, some fun things going on in the West and then kind of like our story, our journey, why we joined, et cetera, et cetera. So, the first thing that we just wanted to talk about is like what our KKY is and how we got into KK Psi, how we joined our chapters, got into the leadership side of things, and obviously now we're all serving in district roles. So, there's kind of a journey to that. So, what's your guys' KKY?
I'll kind of start. So I moved all the way across the country as a freshman. I moved from West Virginia all the way out to Arizona. And I didn't really have any like friends or family or anything, and I was having a really home time. I was super homesick. But I would go to band rehearsal every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and like hang out with a bunch of super close friends and people who really looked out and cared for me. And a couple of those people, Zach and Taylor were two like Taylor was our section leader and Zach was just a senior member within the section who I had a lot of like respect for and stuff. And they both kind of started to like pretty early on push the like KSI button a little bit. They were like, you should look into this. But I was already kind of like, oh, I don't know that I'll have time for that. Like, I don't know that that's my thing. And then they were kind of like, well, you just need to come interview. They were like, because like if you don't come interview, you kind of shut that door on yourself. But if you come interview, you still like delay the decision on whether or not you want to do it for a couple more weeks. And I was like, okay. So I went and interviewed, and like throughout the interview process and all the different questions and stuff, I realized like how much KSI's like national identity and stuff and like our identity as a chapter was like something that like I really believed in. In terms of helping out and always trying to be someone who like leads by example and sets a high standard of service and musicianship. And so I was like, okay, so like this seems like a pretty cool group, and I started to kind of meet more brothers and stuff, and before you know it, I was like in all the way. I did want to say that at the time I actually joined KSI, I was an engineering major, and it's because of KSI that I later changed my major to music ed. Because I as well, mainly because of SDMB and KSI both, but because I had joined SDMB and because I couldn't figure out through the ASU School of Music website how to audition for any other ensemble. Because I really honestly was not a very big marching band person in high school. Like my high school was very sit down band focused. And so I was like, oh, whatever, like I'll get into marching band and then I'll kind of figure out how to get into other stuff. And like I think I was originally a comp sci major, and I think like a month into the school year, I looked at Bonson, who was one of our sax techs. He was a DMA student. I was like, "Yeah, I got to audition for the studio because this comp sci stuff just ain't it." And like I just remember like how supportive that like my chapter was during that whole process. Like even as like an MC, like trying to change majors, they were like, "You're killing it." And then like once I like was like actually accepted into the School of Music and everything, that like I they were far and away my biggest cheerleaders. That was another like super cool case I moment.
Sorry to all the comp sci majors out there. I could never do it.
I'd say mine's, like how I got into KKSI is pretty similar to Jackson. Um, so I'm originally from Wyoming and moved up to, Washington, up at WSU, and was in band and, was in sim band and all of this stuff. But it was just kind of missing like that aspect of having a couple of friends who were fairly close and like I the ability to make friends. um and so I actually got a bid for TBS first, but wasn't super sure that that was what I wanted to do. And Jasmine, who was the VPM at the time, came up to me and said, "Hey, we know that you got a bid for TBS, but we're really interested in, having you in our chapter for KK Psi. We think that you would do really well, and we would love to have you." And so I thought about it, and I was like, "Okay, this is like might be pretty cool." And you know, joined in with a couple of other people, and then went to COVID, and so it was very interesting, but not a decision that I would ever change.
Okay, I'll go. I think out of the four of us, I am the only one that's not a music-based major. Um, and so like before college, I had this very big like, do I want to be going to like music education or do I want to go into STEM? Like it was a true identity crisis. Like during my senior year, it was terrible. And so I ended up going with chemistry at OSU. And for some reason, my brain was like, no more music ever. You can't be in music in college. You just won't survive it. So my first year was really rough. I wasn't doing any music. I was only doing like STEM stuff. Um, and I think that really influenced me my sophomore year because then I joined the marching band. It was my first time in marching band. And I knew people in the marching band, but I was very like, this is new. I'm also older. I'm not a freshman. This just feels weird. Um, and so I was really looking for like, not my computer going off. I was looking for, um, like a family at OSU, and I found that first in the tenor section in the marching band, and a couple of the section leaders were in KSI. We had a drum major that was in KSI, and so just like through talking with them, it kind of came up. I also broke my ankle the night before our first game, my first year in marching band, so I didn't really get to march that season. But I showed up to every rehearsal, and I think that that made a really big impact in terms of like how I perceived KSI and how KSI perceived me, and it just kind of like worked out really nicely. It just kind of was a family that I was looking for, and I got it.
I think out of the three, I'm the only one that where I currently live and go to school, I'm like actually born and raised here. So born in Boise, grew up here, went to high school here, and so I knew about KKSI when I was in high school. I My mom worked at the university and she had an employee that was part of it, so she'd always talk to me about it, be like, "You gotta join this. It's this cool band thing," and I was like, "Cool, I like band. I don't know what it is, but I'll join it." Had no idea like how involved it was and how service oriented it was. Like I just thought it was an extra nerdy band club, which that's basically how our university views us, but that's okay. Um, yeah, I joined my my freshman year, and I think the reason that I joined initially and the reason why I stay, like, they're very different now, which is the case for a lot of people. But I joined initially because I thought that the community aspect of it was really cool, and I thought, it's a group of people that love band, and I love band, so like, why shouldn't I join this super cool thing? And now, obviously, my KKY is a little different. They do it for everybody else and to help others. But yeah, Reese said something that made me realize, what do we all play? Like instruments and majors and stuff like that. I'll go first. I'm a music performance master's student, and I play percussion. And I played snare in the marching band.
I am currently a PhD student studying toxicology. My primary instrument is bass clarinet, and then you can't really march that, so I marched tenor sax.
Dr. Valdez.
So I'm a music education student, and I play oboe and saxophone, but primarily tenor saxophone because it's the coolest one out of the saxophones.
I am, I guess, a music ed major. Music learning and teaching here at ASU. I am a saxophone primary. I also double on flute and clarinet. I play mainly Barry. That's what I marched my freshman year. I'm one of the drum majors now. And then I also chair one of our sax quartets in the studio as a Barry player. And I play like Barry sax, flute, and clarinet in the Latin jazz ensemble as well.
A lot of woodwinds up in here. So, talking about how we got into KKSI, super cool. Obviously, we are now all serving as district officers, which is so cool. MC me would have never thought I would be serving in this role. Like, I would have laughed at myself and been like, "You're funny, kid." So, obviously being DOs, we know about kind of the programming that's going on behind the scenes and some stuff that we're super excited to bring to you all in the West. So, does anyone want to jump in and kind of talk about what program they're most looking forward to that we have planned? I knew Jackson would want to pop in.
So if you haven't already seen it, as of recording, this is October 29th, which means you have 2 more days to fill out your form to participate in the practice-a-thon. And what a nifty opportunity, because for starters, you raise money for the district, and then the cherry on top of that, you earn money for your chapter. 15% of the total funds raised by you as an individual goes back to your home chapter, right? And it's all just by doing something that most of us hopefully probably do, right? Practice. We're talking about practice, right? So yeah, so basically, if you go back to the West Facebook page, I believe they're on our link tree on Instagram as well. There's 3 Google Forms. Only one of those y'all need to worry about right now. The other one you'll worry about in a couple of days. The first one that you need to worry about is the participant form. You just fill it out. I would say, oh, my name's Jackson Snyder. Et cetera, et cetera. I'm a member of the Beta Omicron chapter at Arizona State University. I would love to be a participant in the practice-a-thon. Send it. And then you're done until the start of November. And like each week, we just ask that you fill out the practice log form, submit that, say I practiced this many hours this week. I'll total it all up at the end. We don't need you. In years past, you had to find your own sponsor, and that's not like that this year. However, I would love some more sponsors. So if you're an alumnus, if you're a brother who's like, I don't have a lot of time to practice right now, but I do have a little extra money. I do understand most of us are broke college students, but I do have a little extra money. I would love to sponsor somebody, that sort of thing. Please fill out the sponsor form. That one closes in 2 to 3 weeks. And then additionally, if you have any questions about that, comments, concerns, suggestions, feel free to shoot them my way at the Western District Secretary's email.
It's a cool time. Do it. It's fun. I did it. Do it. I'll be super cliche. I'm excited for Western District Convention. First of all, it's in a dope location. It is in the Bay Area, right, Reese? California, you? Did I say that right? Great. Look at me go. It's in the Bay Area, so it's beautiful. The hotel is so swaggy, and actually, your council will be at that hotel in January. We'll take pictures. We'll show y'all. It'll be a great time. I am so excited for that. But yeah, I'm just excited for convention. It'll be my last go around as a district officer, which will be muy sad, but I'm excited to see everyone and just put on some cool programming for y'all. So that's what I'm excited for. Tee-hee. Also, my sneeze count is at about 7. This is ridiculous, y'all.
Merry Winflones.
Send some my way. I got none.
Bestie, you got to invest in that Sudafed. Come on, buddy.
Dude, Sudafed is like horse pills. I'm not taking those.
Aren't they doing
They're
the
huge.
thing where they're doing
No,
the
no.
thing where they're taking like all those? I feel like maybe Reese would know this since they're a PhD person and smarter than the rest of us music ed majors. I swear I like read or saw a thing on TikTok that like they were taking like the nasal like spray decongestants. A bunch of those they're taking off the market, like, or they're taking them out of being over the counter.
Dr. Reese?
How will this affect the Western?
So I don't actually know about that. This is not going to be on the podcast because let me tell you, in Oregon,
Absolutely, it will be.
you can't get Sudafed without an ID because of the active ingredient. So if I wanted Sudafed, I'd have to drive to Washington. That's all I really know about Sudafed because Oregon has a meth problem. If you don't know,
Oh,
make that with
I forgot
Sudafed.
about that.
Very fun.
Nice.
We can just
Go
bleep
Beavs.
that out.
Go
Beavs.
Beavs. How you think his teeth got that way?
Jackson's spitting straight facts. Poor Benny.
Leave
Thinking
Sorry,
Benny
of
out
him
of
every day.
this.
I've
Leave
only
poor
I've only
Benny out
gotten
of
like
this.
I've gotten 8 hours of sleep in the last 72 hours. I'm a little loopy right now.
Homie, take a nap after
Bestie.
this.
That's the plan. Yeah,
Okay.
homecoming weekend from a drum major perspective is very busy.
Yeah.
What all do you
It's a lot
do?
of fun though. Um, am I answering this assuming that this is going to be, yeah. So,
Oh, okay. Cat.
um, homecoming for us, I guess like this. So the Friday before the home game, we always have the first like alumni rehearsal, which is always super fun because you see like all these like old faces that come back and it's amazing. Um, and then usually that's a short rehearsal for most of the band because we usually have like a volleyball game or like a hockey game that we have to send band members to. Um, and then we have this really cool ASU tradition called Lantern Walk, which is we hike up a mountain and always send like a rally band up there. And a mountain you hike up there. And they do this like tradition. They like light the A. They name the homecoming court. It's really cute. Like it is a really cool tradition. And it's something that they revived like semi recently, like in like the like early 90s. It was a huge processional ceremony like as part of like graduation like way back in the university's beginning days, and then it kind of like disappeared for a while. um but the I will say like it's really just because like basically all the game day prep that we have to do is just kind of tenfold because of like you have 150 something alumni coming back, which like is super awesome. I'm not complaining by that at all. I just mean that like 150 people means extra water jugs and like extra snack bags and like like oh we have to like finagle an extra PA into the stadium somehow, and like we like have to figure out how we're going to get extra podiums into the stadium for like backfield drum majors and like that kind of stuff. Um and so it's not like I like when I say these things, people are like, oh, like and I'm not complaining about it at all. I'm just like, oh, like there, it's just like you take a game day, which is already like filled with an immeasurable amount of moving parts, and then you add more. Um, but they also like the super cool thing about that is like I'm a nerd for conducting styles. So like when you have like a bunch of like past SDB head drum majors there, and you're like just seeing all these different conducting styles, and it's always like information overload for me because like I see people do things and I'm like, I'm stealing that. That's mine now. Like I see your enclosed cutoffs and that gimme, Um but it's a super fun time. I will say the one gripe I have, and this is not the fault of the Wind Bands program. This is the fault of ASU parking. Was it took me 45 minutes after the end of Friday rehearsal to drive over to Lantern Walk, which is like only like 1.25 miles. Um, I went to try and park. I don't even know if it's that far. I went to try and park in lot 59, which is like the lot between like kind of by all our athletics buildings. So like the football stadium, the hockey arena, and the basketball arena. Well, the Coyotes, like the Phoenix Coyotes, the NHL team, are playing in our arena right now, and they had a game, and we didn't know because we were explicitly told, like, oh yeah, you'll be cool to park in lot 59. It took me 45 minutes to make it from the stop sign directly next to the parking lot into the parking lot because of just how bad traffic was. Because literally the entirety of the Sun Devil marching band is trying to make it into this tiny little parking lot, while also everybody and their mother is going to watch the Coyotes play. And there's Lantern Walk, and there's a volleyball game, like all going on at the same time. And there's like they had shut down all but two entrances to the parking lot. You're like, why? This didn't make any sense.
I feel like it's just a rite of passage for universities to have god awful parking.
Oh yeah. It's
Don't
just
even get me
because
started.
And this goes back to if they let band people plan these things, dude, how is it that I can go to a high school band competition and band booster moms and dads can have the truck parking and loading zone? That is the most efficient thing I have ever seen. And then I get to a university where there are like civil engineers in charge of it, and they're like, yeah, I don't know, just pull it in there, I guess.
Literally. This is okay. My biggest gripe with WSU right now is the fact that they are using one of our gravel lots, which keep in mind, we already don't have enough parking for the entire student body. Like, we are short on parking as it is. They are taking like one of the gravel lots down by the College of Ed and uh turning that into a brand new engineering building, and like we are losing access to that entire area, which I'm so pissed about. The engineering building, great. Gonna be cool. So glad that the engineers get a new building. However, the fact that they are taking away parking to make this building is just mind-boggling. It's dumb. Anyway, that's all.
Yay.
Love parking.
We love when we pay loads of money for parking and then we can't do parking. Yay! I currently have a $95 parking citation. Okay, so
L.
the last thing that I would like to know, it's a very easy question. Y'all ready for this? The Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Yes or no?
Have we watched it?
I have.
I've watched the first 20 minutes of it
How'd you only watch the first 20 minutes?
because it's on Peacock, and I started
Oh.
watching it, and then my roommate came in and distracted me, and then I started playing video games downstairs.
Here's what I'll say. Objectively, bad. Entertainment wise, good. I'm easily entertained. I liked it.
I haven't seen like reviews for it or anything. I know one of my really good friends, both in KSI and SDMB, Anna Maris, we're gonna give her a brief shout out here. Is kind of FNAF obsessed, or at least historically was. Um, Anna is just I love her. She's so much fun, and this is her Roman Empire, and so I don't know anything about it. I don't even think I've ever played FNAF. Because like I grew up in a very like not sheltered household, but like I didn't like we had bad internet, so I didn't really play computer games. I like played like Xbox and stuff. And I just never really got into it, I guess. Um, I mean, I might go see it just because I feel like and like to that effect, like I was a little resistant about seeing the Barbie movie at first. Not resistant, but I was just kind of like, oh, like I didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't sure I was gonna like it, and it changed my life. It changed my life, and I loved the Barbie movie. Oppenheimer, I was super hyped to go see, and I honestly had no idea what was going on 95% of the time. It just felt like there were things, and it was very confusing and very like I'm not that smart, but I'm assuming that I will be smart enough to understand the FNAF movie should I go see it. I assume I'll be able to pick up on the nuances of whatever plot line it follows.
Absolutely, you will. And if you're like me, you're already getting FNAF edits on TikTok, and it's kind of the worst thing in the world.
I'm getting them, and I have not played. I was not like a Markiplier, Jacksepticeye girly, so I didn't even like watch. Hello, I didn't even watch. I didn't even watch like people play it. However, I am a Matthew Lillard girly, and I man voiced my childhood, right? Like he's been Shaggy since he's been real life Shaggy. Like he's been animated Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. So I love Matthew Lillard, and also Matthew Lillard doing bad things in bad movies. That's also a win. So I haven't seen it. I'll probably see it at some point. Yeah, that looks really good.
I realized the quality on that was horrible, but that was a Matthew Lillard. Oh my god, he was Shaggy. That's why I know the name. I never watched
Like
it.
literally the entire hype for the FNAF movie for me. I am a FNAF girly. Like I have consumed so much FNAF media. It is literally ridiculous how much I've consumed. But the hype coming into this movie was like, oh, there's a FNAF movie. Okay, cool. And it's like, man, like we'll see what it does, because traditionally, like movies that are adapted from something don't have a great track record, right? I think we can like pretty much agree on that one. But then, as soon as like Matthew Lillard was announced to be like in the FNAF movie, I was like, this is gonna be good. Like, it's gonna be great. I love this already. So excited. I'm pumped to watch it.
I'm not sure about like the movie adaptation thing. I think a lot of times movie adaptations are fine. They just tend to be historically video game movie adaptations are very bad.
Yeah.
Wasn't there one that was semi-recent? Oh, the Mario movie was like pretty, people thought was
I
pretty
love
good.
the Mario movie.
I saw it, but I was kind of indifferent towards it. I mean, I thought it was like fine, but I was not like a diehard Mario person, so it wasn't like I will say I thought Detective Pikachu was really cute when I saw it when it first came out.
I've never seen Detective Pikachu, and I was a Pokemon girly. That was my stuff. Like,
There's one scene where they're like in this like Torterra garden and it's all these like huge Torterras. And that's my favorite Pokemon for by the way, like for context, it was my first starter when I was like barely literate. And yeah, so I started playing Pokemon yesterday in case you didn't catch up on that. But anyways, uh like that like but also too some of the like that one because it was like very like CGI. Some of the Pokemon it was like a little like uncanny valley kind of thing because like I know like the Apoms like freaked me out because they was like you're a little too like believably real looking and it's like it's kind of like bad CGI monster energy.
Wasn't everybody really like taken aback by how Mr. Mime looked in that movie too? Like,
Yeah, Mr. Mime and Mewtwo looked super
oh
funky
yeah.
because like like I'm used to like the like late 90s, early 2000s cartoon and like watching reruns on Cartoon Network as a kid, not this like
Ultra
and they
realistic CGI
yeah,
stuff.
like I never thought like when I was a little kid growing up, I thought that like Charizard was just like orange. There was no texture, he just orange. And then like in the movie it like zooms in on him and he's like oh, it has like scales, like texture. Of course it has scales and texture, ding dong. It's a dragon, you know. He's not just orange. But I was like, why is he not just orange? This would be so much better if he was just orange. And I realized Mary and Reese are losing it right now. Um, but like stuff like that, I think like or like kind of like to that extent, like Apom like having like full blown hair and like teeth and I was like this is gross. I don't like this.
so spoiler alert, WDC's convention theme. Y'all ready for this? It's FNAF.
I was promised that I would get at least one strong veto to use during my tenure in this position. I am using it right now.
Can I veto your veto?
No.
I've got the gavel. I'm vetoing your veto.
You're ruining the system of checks and balances that our founding fathers intended.
I'll fist fight you right here. Orange. All right. Well, I think that's we talked about a lot. So, does anyone have any closing arguments, closing thoughts, anything you want to say to the West? Yes, Reese.
I just the thought of a flying blob of orange.
No, not like a flying blob of orange, but I meant like if you were to look up
I know,
like
but like flat, like no textures.
no
Flat. No.
like some texture, but they were like it was like hyper accentuated. I felt like they like rather than it being like oh like these are kind of real. Like I'm not saying I wanted it to be the like Space Jam thing where it's just like cartoon imagery in like 3D. Like cuz like I think that's what you think I'm talking about and that's not quite it. But like there's got to be a happy medium because it looks like they just did like the AI art thing where it's like super hyper realized for no reason. And it's like, I'm going to be completely honest. I did not need to see the like individual like granulations on like Pokemon's teeth ever. That did not need to happen. I don't know why I thought this, but I thought that Pikachu would not have fur. That just made sense to me because it doesn't look like he has fur. And that, or, and then it's like, oh, he's like fuzzy, which honestly is
He's a
kind of,
mouse.
I understand that, but I thought it was, It's the electric mouse
Do
Pokemon,
any
okay?
look
Like,
like they have fur though? Like realistically?
yes,
Who?
yes. Like
Growlithe,
Mamoswine, Growlithe, like those ones that have like noticeable fur texture and they're like little
Eevee,
Those
and
are
all
like
the
hyper
evolutions of
furry. Those
Eevee.
are like fluffy.
you can look at it and go, oh, okay, there's this guy has fur. This little angel has fur. But like
What-
I never but I don't know because then on the flip side of that, like would it be worse if they were to have animated Pikachu as like yellow with like human skin texture? And I
Yes.
think that would have been way worse.
You don't even need to
That's like-
ask it. It's always yeah, that's worse.
That would be like venturing into like Doctor Who territory of the freaking lady who's just like a sheet of skin. Like I think that would be
No,
like
it's I
within
mean
the same vein of
Moisturize me.
nightmares.
I think it's because like the thing is like in my tiny little brain, like all those things existed as like just as like cartoon characters. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like seeing or like if you ever go like watch a movie after having like read a book series, like when I was younger and I like watched the Percy Jackson movies after having read the series, and you get there and you're like these don't really look like the like descriptions I've like cooked up of this character in my head. Or like also it doesn't make sense because like like I'm pretty sure like half the characters like hair colors didn't match and stuff, which is like a whole other thing. But like it's just like you're expecting one thing and then it's just like, oh, this is not
Great.
even
Any
close.
other last minute thoughts for anybody?
Actually, a more serious closing remark. Always feel free to reach out to any of the four of us over social media. Reach out to the Instagram page, reach out over email. I know that it seems like we're all kind of silly and goofy, and we kind of are sometimes. But we're also all of us ran for these positions because we want to serve you all and we want to help you all. So with that said, like, and give us the ability to do that. If there's something where you're stuck, and you're like, I could really use help with VPN programming. Reese has, I'm sure, a billion resources on that. If you're like, hey, Jackson, is this an IRS? Uh-oh. I might not know, but I can probably find out for you. And stuff like that. Like we are here to support and enable the work of your individual chapters, and we want to do whatever we can to help you feel like you're as successful and doing as well as you can.
We love when we get questions. Like I love when people reach out to me on email, even if it's about like paperwork or something super like minute like that. Like I love getting reached out to. So yeah, totally echoing what Jackson said. Please reach out. We love talking to folks. I think I'm sure Reese and Zuke feel the same way. Episode 1 of Snarkasm coming out to a social media platform near you. I'm so good at outros. All right. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for watching. Episode 2 out sometime. We'll announce it. Goodbye.
Coming to you soon.
I didn't realize the B reel just went off. Okay, cool.